The bill has passed, and I have all the details. Also, what Democrats are now saying and doing in regards to the next stimulus package. Let's get right into it. But if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as this information is changing very, very rapidly right now. I'm doing all the research so that you don't need to. I distill all that information down into these short videos, which I deliver a few times each and every day, so that you can get the latest details hot off the wire as they're being released. So again, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get right into the video. All right, so the Senate has pulled through and the bill has passed. Yes. So as of just a few hours ago, when I posted that last video there, talking about what a government shutdown would mean for fixed income beneficiaries of Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivors, SSI beneficiaries, I laid it all out right there because honestly, the Senate was not coming forward with the voting on the continuing resolution, and we were potentially looking at a government shutdown going forward into the weekend. So I wanted to lay it all out because some of you were reaching out to me throughout the day today saying, what if we go into a government shutdown? Is this going to affect my monthly benefits? So I was laying that all out in that video earlier. However, between then and now, just about an hour and a half ago or so, the Senate came out and they did vote on the continuing resolution. And yes, they passed it. So, as of right now, we are good to go. We're clear sailing. We do not need to worry about a government shutdown this weekend anyway. However, this is a very short-term fix that they've passed. It's only a 3-week measure to bring them out until March 11th, and then we will be in this exact same situation once again. So if you happen to see that video from a few hours ago, just the last video that I posted, just remember that information because honestly, we're going to be right back in this in 3 weeks on March 11th. So, just throwing it out there, just remember that information and you'll be good to go. But anyway, just want to let you know, yes, they voted on it today and we have completely averted a government shutdown for now. Anyway, so just want to let you know, by the way, if you're curious and if you're interested in knowing what the votes came in as, they voted 65 to 27, so they passed no problem at all. We're good, right? All right, so however, at the time when March 11th comes around, we might be wondering, are we going to be doing another 3-week short-term fix? Because honestly, it's getting kind of old, right? Because here's the deal. The fiscal year started October 1st. They've been doing this I think this is the third time they've done this since October 1st. So honestly, it's getting a little bit old. They got to get a long-term solution put in place. However, they do anticipate they can probably have that done. So it's going to be a $1.5 trillion spending bill, and attached to it is the other stimulus package that the president and the administration want added to it. This is the $30 billion stimulus package that we just talked about a couple days ago. This is the new package, and they want it attached to the $1.5 trillion of the spending bill. So we'll see if that actually gets added to it. But according to Mitch McConnell, he said, why are we adding $30 billion of additional spending, new spending, when we could actually just reallocate some of the money that's already been approved from previous stimulus packages and just get it done? The money's already there. It's already been approved. Why are we spending $30 billion of extra money? So again, we'll have to see what actually happens here, but that is the plan going forward, and we should be getting a lot more details here over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks until March 11th. So again, as I get more information, of course, I'll keep you posted with all those details. All right, so let's quickly talk about what Democrats are now doing and saying when it comes to this next stimulus package. So earlier today, Senate Democrats held a luncheon meeting, as they usually do, and they were talking about a variety of different things. Now, to be totally honest, I was not there. I was not listening in on it either, because simply I couldn't do that, but rather I was reading about it, what was said in this luncheon meeting shortly thereafter. So this is just based on what I was reading about the meeting. However, they were talking a lot about inflation, and because they're trying to figure out what they can do to help the American people right now during this time with very, very high inflation, as you all know, because we're all experiencing it, and we've been talking about it here in the recent videos. So they were talking about inflation, and they were talking about us as far as what they can do to help out struggling Americans. Thank you so much for thinking about us, right? I feel like all of us can probably feel like, hey, thanks for thinking of us. But were they really thinking of us, or were they thinking about keeping their jobs in November? Again, not taking sides, I'm just saying, right? I think all of us can agree here. We can see through the smoke and mirrors. But anyway, one thing that they were saying is, one of the lawmakers, I should say, mentioned that they think the key to lowering inflation is actually getting a handle on prescription prices. So apparently this one lawmaker thinks that the key to lower inflation is getting a grip on prescription prices. So yes, that would certainly help, but unfortunately I don't think lowering prescription prices is going to be the all-out key, the magical key to lower prices on everything. There's just no way that that's going to be the case. But unfortunately, fortunately, that certainly would help with prescriptions and all that stuff at the pharmacy. It certainly would help a lot going forward for a lot of people. So that is one thing that they are looking at right now. Something else that they've talked about as well is repealing the federal gas tax through the end of 2022. And again, we have to look at this one and look through the smoke and mirrors for just a second. Although this would be really nice and helpful, it would only be 18.4 cents per gallon. Now, if you have a 10-gallon tank on your vehicle, you're only saving about $2 per fill-up, right? Not even $2. So, yes, it's still $2. Don't get me wrong, $2 is $2. But it's not going to be, again, the magical cure-all for all of this inflation that's going on right now. But at the same time, there's also a lot of talk. Well, one more thing that I have to throw out there as well. Conveniently, they want to repeal the federal gas tax until the end of the year. Kind of interesting because that's after the midterm elections. Again, just saying, right? But one other thing we have to look at too. Some of the lawmakers were talking about repealing the sales tax, the state sales tax, on some products going forward. So again, this would be a great thing too, but again, it wouldn't be like a fix-all, right? It would lower the prices of things by a little bit. I mean, realistically, what is a sales tax on some items? Like 3, 4, 5, 7%. I mean, it's something, unless you're buying like really high ticket items or something like that. I mean, realistically, it's not a ton, but don't get me wrong, every dollar counts right now. So I'm not trying to dismiss that dollars don't count. They absolutely count right now. But realistically, it's not going to be like the magical solution to help all this inflation right now. We need a big fix. We need something to get hundreds or thousands of dollars into our pockets relatively quickly, not $3 here, 27 cents there, $26 there. Well, $26 would actually be pretty nice. But I mean, honestly, my point is we need something that is actually a big fix, not these little pennies here and there, a dollar or two here and there. That's not really going to add up and do a whole lot. But at the end of the day, it's still better than nothing. So please, don't get me wrong. It certainly would be helpful, but we need something much more substantial than that. So there's a lot of different ideas that are being tossed around right now, and they're trying to figure out what they can do going forward to actually lower some of this inflation. Now, we do also know that the Federal Reserve will likely be raising interest rates here in about a month from right now, in mid-March, during their next FOMC meeting. So, as I do get more details on that, of course, I'll continue to keep you posted. But another thing, too, is during this luncheon today, between the senators, they were talking about the Build Back Better agenda. That is the original $2 trillion bill that they were talking about since April of last year. They spent basically all of 2021 talking about it, working on it. Well, I mean, working on it really loosely. And then in December, we had Joe Manchin come out and say, I just can't do it. I can't do it. There's so much inflation right now. I cannot add more fuel to this fire. We've got to lay this whole thing down. We got to be done with this. So it's basically been done ever since then, with the exception of a few lawmakers that have been still holding on to a few of the provisions, trying to get it through. But they're still trying to figure out how they can do it. And some of the lawmakers are finally coming to grips on this thing and saying, okay, we've just got to ditch completely the Build Back Better agenda and just completely start over with anti-inflationary just different bills or provisions, whatever we can get done right now to help out the American people and actually revitalize some of what is within the Build Back Better agenda, but not necessarily some of the exact provisions out of that bill. So the luncheon meeting today was a little bit interesting, again, according to what I was reading about it, based on what they want to do to lower inflation. But again, nothing really came out of it as far as an actionable solution. Again, so easy. We've been trying to reach out to them with an actionable solution for all this time now. You guys have got $800 billion sitting there. Peel off $100 billion and send it out in the form of stimulus checks. Now, again, some people might say that's going to lead to more inflation, more money going out the door. Well, guess what? Here's the deal. Whether it goes out in the form of stimulus checks or whatever else, they're going to spend that money. It's already been approved. Congress has already approved it. It's going to be spent on something. We don't know what quite yet. That's the point. Whether we spend it as the people in our pockets and on the necessities that we need, or whether they spend it on who knows what. Honestly, who has any clue what they could possibly spend it on? The deal is it will be spent on something. So whether it's spent by the consumer, us, we the people, or whether it's spent by the lawmakers doing who knows what, or honestly, it doesn't really matter where it comes from. It's going to be spent. So it's going to be the same dollars going out into the economy and increasing the money supply, right? So, at the end of the day, dollars are dollars, regardless of who spends them. So I feel like, hey, we're perfectly good people. We can certainly spend that money for you. Apparently, it certainly would help out a lot of people right now with everything going forward, and I don't know, just seems like a good solution to us. But again, they're still trying to figure out the magical solution to lower inflation and to help out the people, and we've been sitting here for all these time now, all these months, banging our drums saying, hey, we've got an answer, we've got an idea, listen up here, please, we know the solution. So anyway, but the moral of the story is the Build Back Better agenda is pretty much done, but we've known that for a couple weeks now. I've mentioned that in previous videos. They're working on other provisions out there to see what they can do to help out the lower income and the fixed income and struggling Americans right now, as well as when it comes to the continuing resolution and the government shutdown, we're good to go. So I guess that's kind of the moral of the story. So anyway, long story short, we don't have to worry about a government shutdown. So there you go. All right. I hope you have a nice day. We'll leave it there for now. And of course, I'll be back later, or I should say tomorrow, with another video and the latest details. There's a lot going on right now. I'm watching all of it for you, and as I get more details on anything going on right now, of course, I'll be right here for you with those details, laying it all out and explaining in as much detail as I can possibly find for you with all the information that I'm getting. So again, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share this video with your friends, family, social media. Go back and check out any of the other nearly 2,200 videos right here on the channel. Enjoy, and I'll catch you